I hope you all can hear me. My name is Erin Farley, and I am one of JRSA's research associates. For those of you who may be less familiar with JRSA, it stands for the Justice Research and Statistics Association, and we are a national nonprofit organization that's dedicated to the use of research and analysis to inform criminal and juvenile justice decision-making, and we are comprised of a network of researchers and practitioners, which at the core include directors and staff from the state statistical analysis centers. Before I welcome our presenter, I want to let attendees be aware that we are planning webinars for January and February. So if you could all please keep an eye out for forthcoming notifications about those. Once they are finalized, we will definitely make announcements. With that, it's my pleasure today to welcome you to our webinar titled Using Tableau to Make Data Available Online. It will be presented today by Laurence Lucero, who is coming to us from the Colorado SAC. She joined the Colorado SAC in 2011, where she is involved in a variety of research activities, including the participation of statewide data collection projects, grant and budget management, web and dashboard design, and staff support to the Colorado Commission on Criminal and Juvenile Justice. Laurence has skills in project management, personnel procedures, IT coordination, and multiple software programs. And of course, this obviously includes Tableau. So I would like to welcome Laurence for today's presentation. But before we do go any further, I also want to thank our partners at the Bureau of Justice Statistics for helping make this webinar possible. And I would also like to take a couple minutes to review some logistical items. So we will be recording today's session for future playback. A link to the recording will be posted on JRSA's website, and we usually post it in just a day or two. Today's webinar is also being audio cast via both the speakers on your computer and teleconference. So we recommend listening to the webinar using your computer speakers or headphones. To do this, usually when you register or you get online, you get prompted by an audio conference notification, as you can see on the slide. If that doesn't happen, you can also go up to the top of your page and go to audio conference. You can select audio from the top menu bar and then select audio conference. Once this pops up, there's a window that pops up. You can view the teleconference call-in information, or you can join via your computer. So we do welcome questions throughout the presentation, and most likely myself or Jason Trask, who is another JRSA staff member, we will be sort of keeping an eye out on the questions that are posted, and we will interrupt and stop for a second and provide those questions to Laurence, I'm sorry. And but the best way to do that is to go to the option to ask a question, which is the chat box, and then select all participants. So if you select host, for example, it won't go to everybody. It will just go to Jason or the presenter, what have you. So if you do remember, if you have a question, please send it to all participants. So this session is scheduled for approximately 1 hour. And again, if you do have any technical difficulties, please reach out to Jason Trask, and his email address is jtrask@jrsa.org. One last thing, we do have a short survey at the end of our webinars, and so we would appreciate your feedback, and so please fill out that survey when it pops up. And then, oh, and one more thing. We are trying to count how many people do attend our webinars. And so if you have a chance, if you have multiple people sitting around a computer watching the webinar, we would just really appreciate if you typed in your name and how many people might be watching with you. That would really help us keep track of how many people are attending our webinars. Okay, and so with that, I am going to pass it over to Laurence. Okay, it is
working.
To you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Erin and GRSA, for the opportunity of being with you today. The topic of this presentation is the use of Tableau software to make data available online. And the goal is to give you an overview of how we at the Colorado SAC have developed interactive dashboards using the Tableau software. So I will start with a background of how we came to decide to explore different ways to display our data. I will talk about the different Tableau products, and I will talk briefly about that because I'm not too familiarized with all of those, and some of the basic steps to construct visualization. And finally, I will demonstrate how to construct a workbook with Tableau. To do so, I will have to switch back and forth between the PowerPoint, the Tableau desktop, and our website. So I apologize in advance if there are some delays in the screen displayed. If you have any question during the presentation, as Erin mentioned, please feel free to send a message via the chat box. And I think we'll have some time at the end of the presentation to address your question also. So the Tableau software. So the background, we became aware of Tableau as a method of presenting and interacting with data about 5 years ago. We used a BJS SAC grant to provide training to the SAC staff on Tableau. And we first started using Tableau and developed a dashboard with our crime statistics statewide and by county. Then in 2015, the Colorado General Assembly mandated studies and analysis, and I'm going to name them here, basically requiring disaggregation by multiple crime type, law enforcement agencies, schools. The Senate Bill 15185 is our race and ethnicity and gender at major justice decision point, that requires disaggregation by decision point, race and ethnicity, and crime type. So the disaggregation of all these variables would have required huge unwieldy reports. So we had to do something. We became learning Tableau and experimenting with visual. We worked closely with Tableau help desk to troubleshoot visualization problems we encountered. And now we use Tableau for multiple projects, and I will go over those in a minute. So what is Tableau? Tableau is a software tool which produces interactive data visualization products, such as graphs, tables, and maps. So the different Tableau product, and I apologize in advance if I'm a little hesitant on this one. I can basically talk about the products we are using at the SAC, but I'm not too comfortable with the other ones that I'm going to talk briefly about. So first of all, the Tableau desktop. Tableau desktop is a software. It's actually the tool that you have installed on your computers. And the tool allows you to create interactive dashboards by connecting multiple data sources from your data warehouse. Once you develop your dashboards or your workbook, you have the capability to publish them on the Tableau Public, which is a free publishing website. Anybody can see the website, the dashboard, once it's published. There is also an option to allow the workbook and its data to be downloaded by viewers or not. The Tableau server, it's more of an enterprise-level Tableau software. You can publish dashboards with Tableau desktop, share them throughout the organization with a web-based Tableau server. You have more control of how you share your dashboard as the administrator grant levels of access. The Tableau Online is a hosted version of the Tableau server on the cloud. It's basically the same as Tableau server, as there's an administrator that grants level of access to the dashboard. Going back to the Tableau desktop, there are two types of Tableau desktop, the professional and the personal desktop. The difference resides basically in the cost, but there's pretty much the same features between the two. But the main difference is that the Tableau, the Tableau server and online requires require the Tableau professional, so it's a little bit more costly. And finally, the Tableau Reader, it's a free desktop application that enable you to open and view applications that are built in the Tableau desktop. You can filter, drill down data, but you cannot edit or perform any kind of interactions. So for our purpose at the Colorado SAC, we have 3 staff using Tableau desktop, and we publish on the Tableau public. We do not use a Tableau server as it's basically intended for larger organizations with 10 or plus developers. We are just now exploring using the Tableau Online as a tool to securely share workbooks with stakeholders involved in our projects. To do so, we set permission to access, view, or even edit the workbook. So it's more of a collaboration tool. So step to construct visualizations. First, you format your data to be compatible with Tableau. So a column is a variable. There's also a Tableau add-in that is available for Excel to format the data for Tableau. So it makes it a little bit more automatic to format your data to be compatible with Tableau. You load your data, and I will demonstrate all that in a couple of minutes. You build your graphs in sheets. You build your dashboards, including multiple sheets, and then you publish your dashboard onto the Tableau public. Again, there's an option to allow the workbook and its data to be downloaded by the viewers. Then once published, an URL is generated, and you can embed your URL on your website. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of an example of how the data should be formatted. Tableau allows multiple type of applications. They can work with all these type of files. So now I'm going to go I'm sorry, this is when I switch between monitors. So I'm going to show you now what a desktop or dashboard looks like. I'm hoping you can all see that, and please, Erin or Jason, let me know if you have some comments saying otherwise. So this is an example of our crime statistical data for Colorado. And so I color-coded the dashboard for you to see the difference between the dashboard and the sheets. So basically, like I mentioned earlier on, a dashboard includes multiple sheets. This is a sheet and this is a sheet. And so I'm going to go straight to the arrest by county. And you can see here there's a map, interactive map. And when I click on that map, on that county, in particular county, I have the crimes rates for that particular county showing up below. And I'm going to actually demonstrate to you how to do that. So I'm going to create a new worksheet. So this is what a worksheet looks like. So once you update your data, and I'm hoping I'm not going too fast. So I have multiple data here, but the one sheet I'm interested in for the purpose of this presentation is this one. So that data, that spreadsheet appears here. So if I click on each spreadsheet, you'll show all the variables popping up here. Then Tableau recognizes or categorizes the type of data into either they call that the dimension, and the dimension would be your independent variables or your categories, your textual data, and your measure is your numbers, your values. So you have here your marks, but I'm first going to demonstrate how to build a graph. So if I pull that crime dimension or variable and I put it in a column, here appear all my crimes categories. If I drag, and it's a drag and drop process, if I drag my arrest into either the row or here, it's pretty flexible. And I'm sorry, I'm going to show you that. Here appears my data. I can choose the type of graph I want to display on that far right column here. Then you can, this mark box here, define your colors. They are the details of your visualization. So if I want that crime statistics data split in age group, for instance, I will pull my colors and I want to know what is the juvenile numbers of arrest, what are the juvenile numbers of arrest, what are the adult number of arrest. And that little box popping out, it's called tooltip, and it's usually prompted automatically, and you have access to that to edit as you will, as you decide. Now, if I want to make the numbers appearing, you can also do so by showing the mark label. So again, here is your details of your graph. I want to, so the tooltip, so something extremely interesting also that I found is the calculation features allowed in Tableau. So there's 3 types of ways you can create a calculation field, either your own custom calculation field. So if you grab that arrest here and you say, I want to create a calculated field, it's basically a formula that you create, so it can be as elaborate as you decide. Or Tableau has also prepared, some predefined calculation fields. So if I drag that arrest value to my details and I tell them to add a type calculation table, and I decide that I want the percentage of the total table down of my table, and I'm going back to this one, for example. So here's my calculation fields, and I'm going to actually take that out. Up. Tableau has calculated the fields automatically, and if I want to add that on, I should be able to add that on, sorry. There we go. Well, it worked early on, but I'm missing something. I apologize for that. But you can add the percentage here and have the value numbers right here. It's a matter of a couple of clicks. So I'm going back to this one. So I'm going to now create a map. So the data that I'm using currently has data values, has data with all the counties of Colorado included in it. So if I double click on my county dimension, a map appears. And I decide I want a map of the kind. Here's a map of all the counties of Colorado. Because Tableau recognizes, it's called the geocoding, Tableau recognizes country names, state and province names, city names, and area codes for many countries. If the location is not recognized, you have the ability to custom geocode the data and attribute a geographical role. So then I want to drag the county names into the labels, and here all the counties of Colorado showing up. Now, for the sake of building my dashboard, I want to be able to connect this map with the dashboard I created here. Basically, what I want to do is display the data for the arrest data for Fremont County, for example, with this graph. To do so, you create an action. And so I'm memorizing the names of my sheets here, but I create an action saying, and I'm disregard what you're seeing here because these are previous filters that I created. So I want my sheet 17 to impact my sheet 16. And I'm going to select, and I say OK. OK. And so presuming that it's all set up, now I'm going to create my dashboard. So this is my dashboard 7. And I'm going to drag the map. But I'm going to, I have flexibility in terms of formatting. And I'm going to drag, no, I'm sorry, this is not the right map actually. Excuse me for a second. I'm going to drag the map that is sheet 17. The sheet 16. And I'm going to float that one too. Okay. So if everything goes well, I have here all statewide data. And actually, I want to see a little bit of numbers. Here we go. So if I click on Eagle County, my numbers change. If I click on Douglas County, my numbers change. If you don't mind, I'm going to take out these calculation. I just rather have numbers to be more. Here we go. Here we go. And you have all the arrest numbers over the years. That's also something I need to adjust. So additionally, the filters are very interesting. It's a cross-tabulating, basically. So your filter allows you to break down the data by another category or variable for counties, for example. And in this particular case, I'm going to filter the data by years. Oh, actually, no, year group, sorry. Oh, I can do that. I'm going to use all these, and I'm going to display the years. On your right, the filters appears. And if I go back to my dashboard and display the filter on the dashboard, which you can do, there we go. You'll see that I'm going to show only data for 2016 for Rio Blanco. And here I go. Voila. There's an additional very interesting features I wanted to point out to you, but I won't be able to demonstrate here. It's what they call context. So you can basically create a dependent filter from another numeric filter. For example, in our case here, I have a county, and within that county, I have a number of law enforcement agencies. If I create a context, if I had a context, they call that, to my counties, and I select a particular county here, only the law enforcement of that county would display. And I found there's a relationship between the two filters that is being established. And I found it really, really useful, actually, for our projects. So with that being said, I was going to go back to show you a little bit of what it actually looks like on our web page. So this is the crime statistic I was just showing you. So this is, and as you can see, the filters on the right. As you click on a particular filter, the numbers vary. Colorado U.S. crime rates, and they are filtered by type of crimes, violent crimes, property crimes, or property or violence. And if I select only the aggravated assault, I have the crime rate per 100,000. And so we decided to compare Colorado with United States. The arrest rate is a little bit the same, categorized by the type of crimes. Arrest rate by counties, the one I was just showing you. And also we added a filter of age group, adult or juveniles. So for state-wise, I can get all that. And if I select Denver, for instance, all the numbers varies. We have a tab for incarceration. And I hope I'm not going too fast, but I'm happy to answer any question afterwards. And finally, our correctional data. So we have community correction, DOC, Division of Youth Services, actually, parole, probation, and YOS, which is our useful offender system here. And we have the data since 1998. So this is one of our dashboard web page. We have developed, so the mandates we had received back in 2015 include this particular project. This is a contact with students by school, and we need to report these incidents with students by law enforcement, by schools, by type of crime, by race and ethnicity. It was pretty much impossible to create such large reports with all the data mandated by the legislators. So the Tableau was a really good solution for us. So we used actually a map from the school district, and if you click on Metro here, that gives you the data for all the metro area school district. And as I was mentioning earlier on, if I select a school district here, the context has been established that only the schools within that district here will appear. And as you can see, I'm going to take that out, that we list the number of incidents. That particular dashboard used two different data sources, and because the race and ethnicity come from the Department of Education, Colorado Department of Education, and our incidents are actually provided by law enforcement. So you have incident by contact type, by gender, and so we're always interested in knowing our school, how it's doing. And you have the type of crime. So when it's blank, there's no data. Okay. And finally, I wanted to show you the race and ethnicity. This is the second large project we had in 2015. And so this is a landing web page. You click on the interactive dashboard, and that also is very interesting. The map is actually a map provided by our Colorado Judicial Branch, and the neat things about Tableau, it took us a little while to figure it out, but the neat thing about Tableau is that you are able to work with HTML as well. And so we have the coordinates for every judicial district, because Tableau doesn't know the judicial district, obviously. So we had to use that kind of map. And so I will spare you the details, but we had to do a little bit of HTML code, and it's working well with Tableau. And if you click on the 9th Judicial District, you know where you are at, and you have all the data for the Judicial District, arrest and summons that happen in that Judicial District, case files, and whether there's been an arrest by race and ethnicity, a custody warrant, a summon, the grand total, categorized by type of type of offenses, violent, property, drugs, other offenses. These are the arrest. Case filed. Similarly, we have the demographic for that judicial district. So we've been working with we have joined multiple data source. Filing outcome. sentences, and we invite you to look at these. And finally, revocation. Oops, I'm not sure where I am at. I'm sorry. Just a second. There we go. So as I mentioned earlier on, Tableau produces multiple maps, and I found them interesting to explore, so I just listed them here, some of them anyway. So how working with your work page? You publish your dashboard on the Tableau Public, you retrieve your URL, and you can embed the URL in a web page or a direct link. Things to know about Tableau, it's not always intuitive, and training for users is recommended. First basic training is about 40 hours, and it's offered online. There's an annual maintenance fee that allows regular software update of the product and technical assistance. The technical assistance is requested through a ticket system, and there's a very active community forum, which is also a very good source for technical help. We've been using it regularly. So I'm surprised how fast that went because I'm almost at the end of this presentation. We listed here all the websites that we have developed, and the list is non-exhaustive. We are planning on developing more based on the project we receive. And I wanted to conclude that we are aware that there are numerous similar software packages in the market. And while we are not advocating for this tool more than another, Tableau has been an effective solution for us. We are still exploring and learning some of the features, and the learning curve that have been sometimes slow and challenging, but overall pretty rewarding. So with that, I'm taking any question.
Hi, Laurence. It's Erin. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, a little bit
loud. Great. Oh, let me talk. Yeah, I have a weird. Yeah. I think my microphone's a little cranky.
Okay.
So let me see if, while we're waiting for any questions, I was wondering if there was maybe one other example you could provide of sort of a challenge that you might think others might face who are in similar situations, and how Colorado overcame it. Is there anything that comes to mind that you could share with listeners?
Well, my first struggle was the learning curve. It took us a couple of years to be comfortable with a Tableau. It has really unlimited features and options, but it took us a little while when we had some troubleshoots, and the filters were a trouble. Being able to use the maps and making interactive graphs on these maps I was just showing was a little bit challenging. It took us several days, months to figure it out. But that would be one of my biggest challenges for sure. Could you go back to the slide that lists all the data format that can be used, of course? And I think it's not specifically limited to that list, if this is answer your question.
How have you received any particular public feedback from people, agencies that rely on your presentations, your visual data presentations via Tableau?
Yeah, they appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they found it really interesting. Many
Mm-hmm.
are interested in downloading the data, and at
Mm-hmm.
time it's a little bit challenging for us because some of these data are not contain some privacy issues. So
Mm-hmm.
that also is something to be aware of when you use Tableau Public. You want to make sure that you know your data is protected as it should be, or not if you don't need to do so. I have a question on the side. I'm sorry, I'm reading it. Can you show multiple selected counties at the time? You can, but it's are you meaning multiple county as a sum up?
Oh.
Or are you meaning multiple counties? You can create a sheet where you select all your counties, but if you want to sum up a couple of counties, you can do that, certainly.
Okay.
Let me show
And
you
there's,
some. I'm sorry.
oh no, that's okay. I'm just catching, yeah, my screen was small and catching the other question is also in this project, did you allow sharing of one county's data with another? Okay.
In this project, did you allow sharing?
In other words, were counties able to see each other's data?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is posted on our website, so they certainly can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, they are able to do that. I had some questions early on during my presentation last month about cost, and I apologize I didn't put that in the presentation, but basically, and I'm going to go back there to the slide. Okay, here. So the Tableau desktops, as I mentioned, there's a couple of types. There's a personal Tableau and the professional. The personal actually works really well, and we had it for a few years until we switched to the professional only because we started using the online. So the personal desktop initial cost is $1,000, and then you pay an annual renewal of about $200 to $400. The professional desktop is a little bit more costly. It's $2,000. The annual renewal is about $400 to $600. I mentioned the Tableau server. I believe, and again, it's probably Tableau is revising their cost and their price, so I can't really talk for what they're doing now. But their servers start at about $10,000. So it is costly, but it would be a good solution if you have in your organization 10 or more developers. And your online Tableau is about $500 a year, every year. Yeah.
Great. Do we have any other questions? Oh, were you doing any mapping before using Tableau?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, so while we wait, in case just a couple more minutes,
Sure.
we're going to launch the poll. Let's see. I don't know, Jason, if you can do that for me. I don't have I think I need the magic ball to be able to launch it. So he's going to launch the poll, and if everyone who is still on could take a few minutes and just answer those questions, and then we can also wait and see if anybody else has any questions either. So what you spoke about, sort of advancing the areas that you're going to use Tableau for. What sort of projects do you have on the horizon? Anything that you can speak to?
Well, yes, we are working on the marijuana dashboard, actually.
Okay.
Yes, so it's pretty exciting. I'm not the lead on that, and it's our statistical researcher we're working together to develop these dashboards, and that would include actually criminal justice information, actually health. We have data from the health Department of Health, I believe. So we're working on it as we speak now, so it's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's great. Is that Jack Reed that you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We've JRSA has pulled him in for a
very good
for a webinar in the past about marijuana legalization in Colorado. So, oh, that's good. Do you guys know what sort of timetable that is in like a couple years or in a year?
Oh, no, hopefully less than that, because we met actually yesterday, so to finalize a couple of things on the tableaus are developed, but we need to run a couple of things, so it may take us a few months, I'm hoping. I'm sure Jack also is hoping the same, but we're working on it, so it's going to be really neat, so please check it out. Yeah. It's going to be really pretty.
Well, you know, when that is released in Colorado, you know, just reach out to JRSA, and we'd be more than happy to advertise that as well to, you know, direct interested people to that. So let me check one more time and see if we have any more questions. I don't think so. So with that, you know, we'll wrap it up. And Laurence, thank you so much for your presentation, and everybody for attending and joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed the presentation and will join us for future ones. As I said, we will be making some announcements in the near future about webinars for January and February. So keep your eyes out for that. And thank you again, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.